Want help to grow your business? Download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.
Hi everyone, welcome to the latest issue of Think Global China Edition. I'm David Thomas, and today I'm joined by Scott Gardiner and Jingchuan Zhao. Welcome everyone.
Hi,
Hi
David.
Thanks for coming. Now in today's session we're going to talk about how to export your services or expertise to China. We're going to cover a number of things, an overview of what China needs in the services space, how do you segment and understand the market, some important issues around legal dealings on the ground, a lesson in regulations, how to ensure that your business is ready to export your services into China, the differences between selling a product and a service into China, and finally we're going to look at some of the obstacles that businesses face when selling their service into the China market. So let's get started. Now, Scott, China's changed a lot in the last 30 years, and one of the areas that China is desperately trying to catch up in is in the services sector. So give us an overview of what's happening in services generally.
Well, I think certainly the growth of the middle class in China, many decades of a strong manufacturing base, has created a very wealthy and aspirational middle class China, and when people have more income, more disposable wealth, then they aspire to more services in life. So we are seeing much stronger demand for things around architecture, financial services, even legal services, as Jingchuan and I specialise in, and of course healthcare.
Yeah.
So much more demand. China is much wealthier today than it was 30 years ago. Very large population, like everybody. They want to have some of the trappings of life as well, some of the nicer things in life, and a lot of those are service related.
Yes. So a lot of people have made lots of money in manufacturing, in property, in the growth of the hardware in China. Now we're starting to see them move into the software. So Jingchuan, how did you become a lawyer in China? How did that start?
Actually, when I graduated from the high school, I need to choose the university. So at that moment, actually, the lawyer is still very young profession. A lot of them, like my schoolmates, they never heard of the lawyer career. And actually, I wanted to be a news reporter at the beginning, but my father chose and changed my mind and chose the law major for me. So that's why I end up in the law career. Yeah.
What was your father? What did he do? He wasn't a lawyer.
He worked for government.
Right, okay. And he decided you should be a lawyer.
Yeah.
And that was quite unusual amongst your classmates, was it?
Actually, it's in Europe, but because one of his worker-mate, and their kid actually work in the law career, and my father think it's good. It's better than a news reporter.
Right, good.
But law is still a relatively small profession in China, for example, compared to Australia. In Australia, very established, lots of lawyers, maybe too many lawyers. In China, it's still a very young service.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 20 years old, really, the legal profession in China. It's hard to think that, 30 years ago, there wasn't really a legal system as such, or there certainly weren't many legal practitioners.
Yeah, like King & Wood. Before we combined, the King & Wood was founded in 1993. So that's one of the earliest, the private law firm at that moment. Before that time, is the government-owned law firm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Jingchuan works with China's oldest and longest established law firm, which is called King & Wood, which is only 22 years old, which is extraordinary when you think of it in a Western context. We have many firms that are 200 years, 500 years old, whereas China is just developing a legal industry. It's the same in other services too, like accounting, in other service sectors too. Do you see that yourself?
Yeah, actually my husband is working at EY, the Big Four accounting firm. So the accounting business, it could be a little bit different. The story could be a little bit different from the law, because the law is all localized. each country's the law system are quite different from other countries, but the accounting rules, the principles could be very similar, and they have international principles. So it's more easier for the accounting firm to grow globally, but it's not that easy for the law firm to combine.
No, true.
Yeah, so that's the. But
That's
it could
why
be
the
the
accounting
similar.
firms are bigger than the law firms.
Yes.
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 And I suppose as China started to engage in global business and joining groups like the WTO, they're now having to adopt global standards of accounting and legal services and so on. So there's an increasing demand for world-class services in China now.
Yes.
And you're seeing that yourselves?
Yeah, we are. What's interesting is a lot of Chinese companies were transacting under English law or US law for many, many years, but we're increasingly seeing cross-border international transactions being conducted under Chinese law now. So you're starting to see the growth and the emergence of Chinese law as one of the major areas of law that transactions are being documented under. And as China becomes more prosperous and successful and wealthy, of course, the Chinese want to practice or conduct business under their law, just as the English want to do it under theirs and the Americans want to do it under theirs.
Like around the 2006 or 2000, from 2006 and 2009, that's the time the Chinese companies start to going outside, like to do the outbound investment, and they need to compete with the other companies globally. That's why they also need the international lawyers and the international service. Yeah.
Yes, and not just lawyers, accountants and other professionals in a range of services who can help them navigate the globe in doing business.
Yeah, so for example, things like environmental specialists. Obviously, Australia has a long history of very strong focus on environmental standards. So you're seeing increasingly environmental experts, consultants, scientists being brought into China to help China address some of its newfound enthusiasm around
And China
the
really
environment.
need that because the air pollution is really bad.
No, right. So we could say that the services sector is getting quite hot now in terms of opportunities because China needs access to global expertise in a wide range of areas. What other areas are they starting to think about building their own services sector?
Like the healthcare.
Healthcare.
Like my parents' generation, they are like baby booming generation because our former leader, he personally encouraged people to have more babies because he believes that the labor is everything. You need the labor. That's why there's no birth control at that moment. Like each of my parents, their family, they have 8 brothers or sisters. For each family.
Very Catholic.
And then at my generation, there is the single child policy. So the population shrinked.
Yes.
After the baby booming, then single child. That's why now the China is stepping into the aging society.
Yes.
Like we only have 1 child, but you need to afford to support like 4 parents or 2 parents. So that's the big burden, the society problem. So healthcare, especially for the senior, the retirement unit or senior care, that's definitely a hot sector.
Yeah, healthcare, definitely, as they're trying to build a world-class healthcare system themselves.
Yes.
And education, so education is now a fast-growing area, isn't it? Because it was pretty much destroyed in the Cultural Revolution.
I would not say destroyed. They just like we have a long history, the culture, but in the Cultural Revolution, they just abandoned some traditional culture. They chose to let the people to study the new culture. Actually, we still have the education system, but like in China, it's because we have a big population and the competition is so intensive and. Like the middle class people, they want more options. Like if there's the joint venture education institution, that would be a good choice for them. And it's the better preparation for them to go overseas to continue study.
Right.
But I think one of the things that comes out of the Australian-China Free Trade Agreement is the push and the relaxation of the ability to bring education into China. And obviously that's not just unique to Australia. So yes, a lot of Chinese are coming to places like America and Canada and Australia to get educated, but there's also, as you say, David, a huge pull from China to bring that expertise
Back
into
into
China to educate Chinese people locally.
Yeah, and I think that's big opportunities for
Huge.
foreign services companies in healthcare, education. I think tourism is another one.
Yep.
Legal, accounting, architecture, design,
Culture,
marketing.
entertainment.
Yep, entertainment, leisure,
Yes, leisure.
aged care services. These are all areas where China is looking to get access to foreign expertise and bring it back into China.
To continue enjoying this presentation, download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.